Even the structure of this poem reinforces the fact that the poet has emphasized the dehumanizing aspect of the war. You may see that the poem has written in a plain and matter of fact way. There is no hyperbole. There are no metaphors and similes. There are no hi-fi literary figures of speech or literary devices. Uh, because the poet wants to the emotionless, the flat impact of war on human beings. Let's discuss the language of the poem. If you notice the rhyme scheme, had he and I but met by some old ancient inn, met and inn, uh, we should have sat us down to wet, met and wet, right many a napperkin, in napperkin, in kin, met, wet, in kin. You can see that there is the rhyme scheme of A B, met, wet, in kin. Uh, Again, look at the second stanza, but ranged as infantry and straight face to face. I shot at him as he at me. Infantry, me. A, uh, face and place. B. Infantry, me. Face, place. Now in the next stanza, I shot him dead because he was my foe. Just so, my foe, of course he was, because was foe, although. Come to the next line. I. Perhaps rhymes with traps. Perhaps traps. Why? Is down crown. So the rhyme scheme is A B A B A B. And I have discussed the major theme as well. There are three types of conflicts highlighted by Hardy in this poem. First is the physical conflict, in which you may see physical conflict, that is the actual situation of the battlefield in which two soldiers are standing line by line with their opposing armies, and they are ready to kill one another, to shoot at each other. So this is the physical conflict. Then there is the guilt that is um, that the soldier feels. This is the sense of guilt of the soldier who is not happy to kill the other soldier, and who is continuously thinking and trying to find out the reason why had he killed that man, and who is not happy to kill the other soldier. And third conflict is the class conflict, that is reinforced in the lines. Uh, Perhaps offhand, like, just as I was out of work and sold his traps, that these are the financial circumstances that compel a man to join an army, and he may have had to sell his belongings. Okay, soldiers mm, are such a class that is oppressed by the rulers, who are exploited by the rulers. The rulers exploit the poverty of their masses. The rulers exploit the lack of resources of their masses, only to fulfill their desires of self expansion or the aggrandizement of their territories. These sort of To fulfill these sort of desires, they exploit their masses. So this highlights the class conflict of the upper class and the lower class, ruling class or the ruled class. Then there is another important thing to be discussed in this poem. Uh, if you notice, the poem uh, ends at a place exactly from where it begins. in the beginning stanza, the poet says that he wishes that he might have had met the other soldier at some inn, at some pub, and he would have had a very pleasurable and good time with that man, and they would have enjoyed many a drinks there. And in the last stanza, he also says that if he had met that person at some bar or at some inn, he would have treated him differently, and he might have had helped that person with money as well. Okay, this circular structure of the poem indicates the circular nature of the war. uh, in human society as a whole, war is circular. There is a war, then there come some years of peace, and people talk about uh, suggesting some ways to avoid a war for the long time. But then there arises some circumstances in which war become inevitable, and they indulge in war again. Then there come some years of peace, and then there is war again. So this is the circular cycle of war in the human society. But Hardy wants to break this cycle, and that's why he called this war quaint and curious, old fashioned, strange, unusual. So there are many uh, thinkers like Hardy who love peace and who preach peace and who are scared of war and who do not like to see war in the modern civilized society. Okay, girls, this was all about the poem The Man He Killed. You have to prepare its critical analysis, MCQs, and answers to short questions. Okay, I hope you would enjoy this poem. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.